How to get students to be organized. More than a year ago, a frustrated middle school band director turned to a Facebook group for help with a problem. What was it? Students and parents weren't returning forms. The post included a reference to, quote, kids these days, unquote. Well, I couldn't resist the urge to put in my 2 cents and wound up putting in a whole lot more. March is Music in Our Schools Month, and I can't think of a better time than now to take my response and present it to you. So here goes. This Facebook thread is an interesting one. As someone who is a middle school band director, quote, back in the day, principal, central office administrator, and now one who writes and speaks on organization and time management professionally, let me weigh in. First, when I started teaching in 1982, the older teachers talked about how kids weren't like they, quote, used to be, unquote. They blamed it on the parents who were now grown-up flower children of the 1960s. We tend to see the world like an English lesson. We make the present tense and the past perfect. Bringing forms back plays into a larger issue, having a system to handle papers. It's a skill set some 9-year-olds have mastered and where some 49-year-olds still haven't a clue. Ditto for handling digital information. Neither the kids nor the parents are failing to return paperwork just to tick off the band director. And since band is a place where kids want to be, just imagine the challenges faced by teachers where taking the class is mandatory. Kids don't come to us knowing how to form an embouchure. We teach them that. The good news is teaching organizational skills is far easier. Since we have students for multiple years, we're the kids' best shot at teaching organizational skills that will benefit them throughout life. What does the paper workflow look like for your students? In your school, when a paper to be acted on is given to the student, where does it go? What's the inbox where each and every piece of paperwork that needs to be handled is put? If there's a good answer to that question, then the kid's fine regardless of how complex his or her life gets. Without it, it's like handing the kid a clarinet and never giving him a fingering chart. Maybe he'll figure it out on his own somehow. When the kid gets home, where is the one spot that all paperwork goes for the parent's attention? Again, some type of inbox. In band, when you assign lines 1 through 6 from page 14 tonight, you play those lines in class the next day, right? You have the whole class play. You call on various sections to play. You call on individual students at random to play, right? What if you assign those lines and you just don't say anything about them for several days? Well, we wouldn't be surprised if the kids didn't work on them at all. It's the same with something as simple as paper flow. If it's due today, you ask for it today. If turning in forms is an issue, then call roll and have the students bring their forms to you as an answer to roll call. Yes, it does take time, but this is what's going to save you time and frustration once you teach a system and set expectations. The next day, start class by calling on the students who did not bring back the form and ask for it. Do the same the next day. Follow-up is everything. Our students live in a world where there's more input than ever before. We know that. Survival depends on making choices about what to ignore. Ignoring the noise is essential to allow any of us to focus. When we give students a form, and then send the same thing home in an email and put it on the website and put it on Instagram and put it on the Facebook page and use an automatic caller, well, we become part of the noise. We become part of the problem. When we give the students a system that's going to work not just in band, but across their lives now and when their children are in band, we give them skills that they can use for a lifetime. If you want a shining example of doing it right, Charles Peters and his Joliet Grade School Band are legendary in the arena of middle-level bands. A mother of one of his students wrote to him about the influence he was having far beyond the mechanics of playing an instrument. I don't think you're going to find that poem anywhere online, and it's one that's worth the read. Come over to the blog post. You'll see the full text of that poem there. Now, the poem dates back some decades, but the sentiments are as relevant today as they were then. And if you're a fan of band music, I've included several recordings of pieces that grade school band played under the direction of the teacher to whom the poem was directed. I think you'll enjoy what you hear, and it's a great way to begin Music in Our Schools Month. Hey, are you on my mailing list? That's the best way to stay on top of new content on the blog, podcast, and YouTube channel. When I'm a guest on a podcast or speaking at an event near you, you'll know about it. You'll also get 2 free gifts. One's going to show you my method for keeping your desk clean, and the other shows you how to keep everything you have to do in one place. You'll get up every day knowing what's most important for the day ahead. Thanks for coming here today. This is Frank Buck, helping you get organized and make it look easy.